What's cracking? I know it's been a minute since I've been doing some YouTube stuff. Kind of been busy traveling, skating, life stuff. But I'm back, and today I figured I'd make a video answering a question a lot of people have always hit me up about, whether I'm out skating, on Instagram, whatever. Everyone always asks me, like, how do I kickflip the way that I do? How did I learn how to do it that way? And all types of shit like that. Instead of just hitting you guys with the, well, I just do them a lot kind of answer, I'm gonna actually go step by step about how I figured out how to do it and the best thing that works for me. And it's gonna be less of a how-to video, but more of like a what I've learned over the years of doing so many kickflips. I'm gonna get a board set up and then we'll get right into it. There's another part of this that I feel is important to making this video. When I was first starting out skating, pretty much everything my older brother Dante did was like, that was just the word of God. From a very, very young age, he always put me on to like wearing 2 pairs of socks whenever I skated. For me, what it helps with kickflips, just off rip, it makes my shoes super tight. So it almost feels like my shoe is just my foot. I don't really feel any sort of like play in my shoe, because usually with a shoe there's going to be no blowout. It's going to be tight as shit to start out, but after this session, like, it's going to blow out a little bit. It's going to start getting a little wider. It's going to start, my foot's going to move around a little. And what I've come to find out is when your foot is moving around inside, that's delaying anything your foot is doing on the outside. If I'm flicking and my shoe is moving on my foot, it's going to delay my flick, because think about it, if my foot flicks forward, the shoe has to take a second to go to as far as it can go with my foot inside of it, with it moving. And once it catches the grip, it's eventually gonna stop and then catch the grip. Whereas if I wear 2 pairs of socks, it makes my shoe so tight that I don't have that issue. It basically is just as snug to my foot as it could be. It gives me a lot more of just a direct flick. I figured it was worth mentioning. Not telling you to go wear 2 pairs of socks, but a tighter shoe, at least in my opinion for skateboarding, has always benefited me. I know some people like to wear their shoes super loose, and I never understood that. That seems like super unsafe, but if it works for you, dope. But if it doesn't, and you're having trouble with your foot not making good contact with the board and not being able to flick quickly, that could be your problem. It might not even be you, it could just be your gear. 2 pairs of socks. I might be crazy, but it works. If your kickflip looks like this, or if your kickflip looks like this, chances are you're either not flicking enough or you're not popping hard enough. Starting from the very beginning of this trick, you're gonna push down in the center of your tail. That's kind of where you want all your pressure to be. I usually skate on my toes. Usually that's where like my big toe is pushing down the most. You can see my flick marks right here. Kind of want to be in this area. If you can get it like straight, like closer to this sort of flick mark where it's going like a little closer to the top of the nose, that's just going to give you a straighter kickflip, and it's going to be a lot more powerful. But the secret to this shit that took me years and years to figure out is it's not about power, it's not about how strong you are. It's a lot more about timing. You can push down the center of your tail and flick at the same time in the correct spot with the same pressure. The board will do the trick as slow or as fast as you want it to do. Less pressure on either the lower and the slower it's going to be. The more pressure on both, the higher and the faster it's going to be. What I tend to focus on and try to keep consistent, even if the kickflip isn't like the best flick or the best pop or whatever, what I always try to like aim for is I want my board to hit my feet while I'm going up. If my board is hitting my feet while I'm going up, I have a couple different options. I can A, either just commit and land it, or B, since it's hit my feet, I can kick it away if it's not exactly what I want. So I just shoot for a good catch before I shoot for a good land, because the land comes second. Once I get a solid catch, I can do different things with it. Not to like get ahead of myself, but you're able to flick into grind tricks a lot fucking easier if you know that sort of technique of popping hard and flicking hard at the same time and having it come up to you, because then you have this ability to just like aim for the catch. So you're just trying to focus on catching your board, and once you catch your board, you can move it any way you want. Initially, a kickflip lip and a kickflip front 50-50 are exactly the same flick, because I don't do a different flick for the trick. I just flick and I do a different catch, like after catch turn. It's more about me catching my board and turning, less about me flicking into the grind. My thought process and my goal that I'm thinking of, it's not so much landing a kickflip. Shoot for a good catch, not a good land, because the catch is going to bring a good land. If you practice that enough, what you're going to be able to do is catch your board the same way every single time. And if you can catch your board the same way every time, you can either bail it the way you need to, or you can put it in any trick that you're really trying to do. Or also just, you know, have a consistent, solid kickflip, which is the goal of this video. The super important thing about kickflip are your shoulders. You always have to be mindful of where your shoulders are. You want to keep your lead shoulder, whether you're goofy or regular, your left or right shoulder, you want to keep that pretty straight to where you're going, and you always want to keep your shoulders parallel to your bolts. The best thing I like to think of is, if the surface is flat, I keep my shoulders as flat as, you know, my bolts are laying on the ground. But if I'm on a quarter pipe, I'm going to lean back, or off a bank rim, I'm going to lean back a little bit, because the surface is going to be pitched up, and that's how you get a clean, consistent pop. If you don't, then all that's going to happen is you're either going to just miss your pop, or you're going to pop way too hard. It's all about shoulders, and I think where a lot of people go wrong is they just don't lean into it, because it's kind of scary when you're first starting out to like lean back when you're going up a quarter pipe and try to pop. But that's really the only way that you're going to get a solid snap. The fundamentals of the trick are exactly the same. It's just the added scary factor of like having to lean back and pop kind of like off center. But the more you try it, the more you'll understand what I'm saying. And that same principle applies. Pop down really hard, flick hard, and as long as all of those pressures match, the flicking and the popping pressure, the kickflip will come right up to you. It's still a little like weird. You know, I haven't been doing kickflip to fakie on quarter pipes in a while. So like anything else in skating, my mindset and mentality with that is just start low, kind of build your confidence. It's the beauty of a quarter pipe. You can just work your way up until you're happy with how high you're going, and then you've built the confidence, because most of it is just the confidence to even land the trick. Doing this downstairs is a little bit different. Similar principles, the pop and the flick still apply. Those have to be consistent, but what is a little different is, depending on the height of the stairs or how far you have to travel, flick and pop accordingly to that. Like, you still want the board to pop up to you and, you know, have a good catch, but you also want to time it so that you don't pop too fast and flick too fast, where you catch the board real early and then you have to worry about securing your catch for a longer distance. You want to kind of catch it like maybe 40% of the way down, so that you have the last 60 to kind of just let gravity take care of it. You'll be able to like keep the board coming up to you, and you're gonna still keep going to where it would be the peak of your kickflip, but then that last 50%, you're gonna just use gravity to basically secure your catch. You don't really want to do it the other way, where it's like you flick and you catch it at like 60% through the way and you're catching it on the way down, because when you're catching it on the way down, it has more of an opportunity to shift around, and then you could stick something that might not be there, and it's a lot easier learning how to catch it on the way up, so you can just secure a catch, so you can bring it down and it's just looking clean. It's all about timing. If you haven't figured out at this point in the video, kickflips are just timing. It's not about strength, not about power. It's really just the technique that you've learned and how consistently you can apply that to the trick. So that's really it. I mean, the trick is as simple as it can be. It's one of the most basic tricks besides an ollie, but really just be patient with it. Remember, popping and flicking, the pressure you put on that is important. Your shoulders are also important. Just be mindful of how you're positioned over your board and how you're balanced over your board. But other than that, good luck with kickflips, and I want to see them. Hit me on Instagram, on YouTube, whatever. If you learn them or figure them out a little better than you already have, I'd love to see it. If there's anything that you guys need help with, or if there's things that I do that you wonder how I do and you just are curious how I've learned them or my thought process for it, let me know in the comments. Try to help you guys out, and hopefully post a little more often, because I think I've been gone for like 2 months and I didn't even know that much time passed, but we're gonna make it more consistent. So until next time, hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.